3, 2, 1, and we are live. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Dardish show. I am so excited for the show today, for our guest that I literally just met 5 minutes ago, Tamara Qaddoumi, although half of my friends actually know her. So would you introduce yourself real quick?
Hi, my name is Tamara. I'm from Kuwait. I grew up over here. I'm a bit of a hybrid, and I am a singer. And yeah, that's mainly what I do.
Nice. Welcome to the Dardish show, a place to sit back, relax, and enjoy a good conversation. So Tamara was telling me something about an experiment, NLP experiment. As soon as she walked in, as soon as she sat down, she was like, you know that when you serve people with tea, it gets them psychologically more comfortable and more relaxed.
Well, yeah.
So tell us more about that.
So basically, let's say you have a pitch, that you want to throw at your boss and you want him to agree to it. Or let's say you want to go on vacation and you want to take an early leave. So the best thing to do is for you to come in with 2 cups of coffee. And you come down, you sit down, and before speaking to your boss, you offer him a cup of coffee. You talk about how the season's changing and the weather's getting warmer. You're thinking of the beach, and psychologically, as he's holding this cup, or she is holding this cup of, hot beverage, it's making them a little bit warmer, a little bit more lenient to agreeing to having you take an early leave. So if you ever want to pitch something to anybody, just give them a cup of coffee. It gets them more comfortable. Yeah. So.
Or just take them out for a walk when it's 50 degrees outside.
Or that. Fry them. That's fine. It's a good start.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Because I've been doing that ever since I started Dardish, and I didn't realize that until you just told me. That explains everything.
This is what
that
you
explains.
do.
This is what I do.
Yeah, I see.
So tell us more about yourself. I'm sure you're more than just a singer.
So I don't like doing one thing, which has been good and bad, I think, in my life. But I've just learned not to put all my eggs in one basket.
Mm-hmm.
I studied drama school. I went to drama school and I studied drama. And I worked in film for a bit. I did production and casting for feature films. And I'm also a holistic health coach, but mainly I thrive in music. And I'm a part owner of a restaurant over here. Ovo.
We eat ovo at 4 a.m. That food is delicious. I'm serious. We do eat at 4 a.m. When it's open, we're like, yes, ovo. But I want to hear about the holistic part of your journey. And what exactly do you do? And maybe you can explain to people, what does holistic medicine mean?
Holistic, or Ayurvedic, as some people know, is basically the natural approach to healing yourself. A lot of people think that, nutrition is only what lies in your plate, but it's not. Nutrition is in your career, in your spirituality, in your education, in your passion, in your relationships with people. And if you're fulfilled in all those things in your life, you're not going to go back home and empty out a cabinet of chocolate, because you're satisfied in all those aspects of your life. And so I think it's a conditioning that we need to remind people that nutrition isn't just related to food. And so when I sit down with my clients, we look at all aspects and see what's missing. And that's the holistic approach. So of course we look at what's on your plate. That's very important, because everything you eat is what, food is medicine, and that's what makes you feel good. And you just need to remind people that, let's say you're coming down with a cold, you can take Panadol, and you can take Panadol for 3 days, but you can also take orange juice and all these magical elixirs for 3 days, and you'll probably feel better the same time as you took Panadol every single day. So it's just reminding people to go back down to the roots of our earth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It's just like seeing your life as a whole instead of dividing each problem separately and trying to solve them individually. Is that basically what you do?
It's all about understanding yourself and learning about your strengths and weaknesses. And once you're able to do that and you're able to identify those things in you, you develop a sort of communication with your body that we've sort of lost with all the, garbage that we're constantly absorbing, whether it's through sound, through sight, through all of your senses. So it's really coming back down to yourself and finding that silence and intuitiveness that we've lost with nature. So that's what I do.
That's amazing. And I'm curious to know, what tests do you do if a client came to you? Because I did somewhat of an Ayurvedic test in Amman, and they did it. I mean, she just literally held my hand here and she was able to slightly know my dosha, but not completely.
Yeah.
And then based on that, they structure the treatment.
Yeah.
So, what do you do exactly? And how do you
So I don't go by with, trying to figure out people's doshas, but mainly I've just specialized in hormonal health. So what most of the clients that I'm actually attracting are women that have been going through hormonal issues when they reach like a peak in their 20s, because your body generates new cells every 7 years, and so around 24, 25, I think there's this wash of old residue and old energy and old dead cells that are coming out of your system, and now your body is trying to find balance again, so which come through hormonal issues. And I help clients work with their doctors and their psychologists and nutritionists to heal their thyroid issues, or maybe polycystic ovarian syndrome, or endometriosis, or some people that want to try to get pregnant. So so we work with doctors, we work with psychologists. We are that bridge, because doctors don't really have time to hear about how your day's going and what food you're eating. You have, what are your symptoms, blah, 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 blah. We like to get down to the root of things rather than treat the symptoms. And so we work together in order to, optimize our clients' health and their goals to optimal balance and happiness. So
I love that. I'm kind of obsessed with I like the optimal balance and performance and happiness, and really I'm serious. I believe that we can wake up in the morning energetic and excited and with a clear view of the world, because it's like we get to adapt to these chronic conditions that tend to happen to us. I mean, they end up eventually turning into this chronic thing that we get used to, whether it's pain, whether it's not being energetic or not being in the good mood, or sleeping problems. So I'm really obsessed when it comes to optimal human performance. And I think it does have a lot of factors that come into play. So how do you think your relationship with yourself comes into play when it comes to your holistic well-being?
I didn't have the awareness before. You see these symptoms that you come across, but they don't really ring bells, but you just acknowledge them and you just push them away, you brush them by. And I think what we need to do is that we need to get people aware of those things, and as long as you're aware of them, then you do what you want with that information that is given to you. That is your choice, but understand that this is in your hands and you are able to work towards something. And it's noise around us. That's mainly what it is. I don't know if have you tried the Bose cancellation headphones? No? So it's basically, they're headphones that are able to cancel all frequency around you, and it just goes dead silent, and it's one of the most therapeutic things. And a lot of people, I've done this to someone, and I've put the headphones on them and it cancels all noise, and they just started crying, because you're kind of able to be alone with yourself for the first time, and people are not comfortable with that. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. So I think that is vital for me. People do it through meditation, people do it through art, people do it through music, vice versa, whatever your catharsis or your freedom of expression may be, it's coming home to yourself. And that's what we help people do, come home to themselves.
I love that terminology. And how are people receptive to you telling them this? And especially, do you only treat females or you treat males?
No, I treat male as well, yeah.
I'm curious, how are males receptive to this approach?
At first when, I present these things, it's a bit absurd. It's like, whatever, it's just like, let's try this simple 4-year-old exercise. But it's so damn simple that when it's laid out to you, you panic, because we're always given such different challenges in life that we've missed the basics. Like this education that I'm talking about, I feel should be incorporated in schools. This is what children should be learning in schools. Where, do you know what I mean? It's just literally how to get by with life and how to figure out each situation that lands in your pocket. So once we push through the first session or two, and they start to see the results. You focus on food first, because that's mainly when people come to you. They think nutrition's on the plate. So we do focus on food, and then we slowly start incorporating all different aspects of life.
Do you guys focus on gut health? And do you guys do tests in terms of that for you to
So your gut is your second brain. And once, depending on why the person is coming, we look at their food, we look at their diet, because at the end of the day, food is what makes you feel good. So I'm not sleeping enough. I, crash in the afternoon. I'm not able to eat in the morning. All those can be manipulated just through little things in your life. So we add things, we don't remove things. It's very important to do that with your clients. You add things to their life rather than restrict them and take them away. So once you start pushing things and good things, they'll slowly start to let go of old habits that no longer serve them. And that's the key.
I like that.
That's the key for like something that could remain consistent. And that's the difference with someone that's like a nutritionist that gives you a crash diet. You crash diet and then, you lose all the weight, for example, and then, you get back to your old habits and then you're destroyed again. You're back to planet zero, if anything worse. So, see what I mean?
Yeah, instead of 0 to 100, you make them make the decisions based on their results and the commitment. Because you're right. If you did something that aligns with your values, or it's an achievement, whether it's going to the gym or eating clean, you don't want to mess up that. So you kind of value it the more work you put in it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love it. I think like gut awareness people are way more aware about it now than they were before, but I think they should be even more.
Absolutely.
I've been really struggling with my gut for the
Okay.
past 2-3 years, and I tried all the doctors here in Kuwait and I couldn't find a solution. So obviously not all the doctors.
I'm not a doctor though.
Obviously not everyone. And I went to Dubai and I was able to do this test and I finally got the answers.
Okay.
So I have yeast overgrowth.
Oh, Candida.
Candida, yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have it and it's manifested in different ways. So it's
Yes.
not necessarily one symptom.
Yeah.
So when my doctor told me what I have to do to reduce Candida, because you can't eliminate, you don't have to eliminate it, you just have to reduce it. It was crazy. The diet he told me, and my brain wasn't accepting it. My belief systems that I have, that I've been eating these things ever since I was young. Not eating them is very hard. Like it's a thought that my brain didn't accept in the beginning. It's pretty tricky, Like you can't have any sugars, no fruits, no juices, no rice, no grains, no breads, nothing.
Yeah. Carbohydrates.
And luckily
and
enough,
sugar.
I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan. So if I was that, I wouldn't be able
Yeah.
to eat even meat.
Yeah.
So he put me on a paleo diet.
Yeah.
And for the first 2 weeks, because whatever you're craving, it's not you that's craving, it's your bacteria, right? So after the first 2 weeks, I was literally like after 6 or 7 p.m., I'll go crazy. I'm craving sugar like crazy.
Yeah.
I'm just craving something.
Withdrawal. Major withdrawal.
Oh, it is literally a withdrawal.
It's a drug.
Yeah, and you were talking about it, how they have these crashes.
Yeah.
Because you're used to having these peaks instead of your mood or energy being steady throughout the day. You have these peaks of sugar, and then you're gonna have this. So right, you have these peaks of sugar.
Absolutely.
So your mood is constantly It's like, I heard this metaphor. I was watching Mad Men yesterday, and his boss was like, "Don't smoke cigarettes." And the dude was like, "Why?" Because back in the 50s and 60s, they smoked cigarettes everywhere.
Of course, yeah.
Like it was healthy. So he was like, "It's weakness. What do you mean weakness? Because, and then I started to think about it, because when you smoke a lot, that means your mood is dependent on that cigarette. That means that your decisions. So that's why certain presidents are not allowed to smoke, because they can be undecisive based on
it distorts. It completely distorts, of course.
Yeah, so thinking even when it comes to your diet, like, it's way easier now for me at least, to have a stable energy throughout the day by just cutting out sugar.
It's cocaine. Sugar is cocaine. It is like, it's taken over the world. It's in everything. You don't realize that it's literally in everything until you come across to the point where you need to, people go through Lent, for example, and now they're realizing that they can't have anything that they have every single day. It's but it's a withdrawal. Yeah, it's a drug, big drug. But how are you feeling now?
I lost a lot of weight. I lost a lot of weight, and that was not the plan. I really wanted to fix this, but I lost my weight just going down. But I feel way better, and I don't crave sugar. Now I see sugar as something like,
yeah.
Like, I don't
and if
like
you ever reintroduced it, you'd see, like, have you seen children have donuts or like candy? Their pupils dilate.
No way.
Of course. For children that are not, that don't lead a daily sugar life, let's say, if parents, let's say my cousin's kids, she's really trying to control how much her child can have, but at the end of the day, she doesn't want her child to also feel left out at school, when there's cake and I don't know what. So she, she tries to control it as much as she can, but when her child has a slice of cake or a piece of chocolate that dilates like that, it's a drug.
It is a drug. That's crazy.
Yeah, but it's just as we said, as long as you have that awareness, that's the most important thing. Because sometimes you do want to take a bite of, someone that made a cheesecake with love, and it's not very good for you, but you take a bite, just have the awareness of what it does, and then see what makes you feel better and what makes you feel worse, and move on.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. That happened to me 2 days ago. I don't know if you know Rana. Rana. She's a Zumba instructor.
Okay.
And she cooks delicious food. And her food is like amazing. All right, so we had dinner. Dinner was fine. I was a good boy. But after dinner, she brought these cakes. And I haven't had sugar in like 2 months from the beginning of January.
Yeah.
And I was so embarrassed.
And you're like, oh my God.
I was telling my friends, like, hey, I can't eat sugar. What am I going to do? Like I said, she made us wait for the cake.
And you feel embarrassed.
It was delicious, Rana. I swear to God, it was delicious. And I took a bite and I told my friend, I was like, I ate sugar. Is that okay? It's okay. No. So it's okay. I like how you said it. That
because like, you don't want people to develop like eating disorders, or like, that for example is called orthorexia, when you're too careful about what you eat all the time, that it controls your state of mind, and that alone becomes unhealthy. You can eat all the healthy things in the world, but if mentally you're not okay, you're not a healthy human being. So
your cortisol is constantly up because if you're stressed about what you're eating.
Yeah. So exactly.
What's that word again?
Orthorexia.
All right.
So, you don't want to obsess, and you don't want it to control your life as well. So it's just all about just finding that balance. That's mainly what it is.
It's interesting because I did a osteopathy treatment last week, and I haven't practiced yoga consistently in the past 2 years.
Okay.
So I do it when I would go to the gym, but not as much as I used to. So I realized that in osteopathy, you have to breathe a lot. Breathing is a huge part of it. So I realized that she kept telling me that I'm not able to exhale. And exhaling is all about letting go.
Yeah.
She's like, you were never a control freak like this. What happened in the past 2 years? So and that could affect my gut tremendously. Just not being able to just let go. So I think that has a lot to do with that, like eating things and holding that thought in your mind and not forgiving yourself, for example, for doing these small things is way more important than actually eating clean and taking care of your diet, right?
We tend to hold our breaths a lot and we don't even realize it because we're always in what's it called? Fight or flight mode. And for example, when you laugh, you exhale, and that makes you feel good.
Ooh.
But when you cry, you know, you inhale, and that's pure anxiety. So it's also being conscious about that. We're constantly stressed out with everything that's going on in our life. And with food, with specific foods like superfoods, you know, people don't really understand what superfoods are and why they came into the picture, but they're adaptogenic. And adaptogens are basically elements that try to make you stress-free from life. So you have a lot of like beautiful roots of the earth, like ashwagandha, which is like a mushroom. You have maca, which kind of like Peruvian root that helps with like hormone balancing. So food is medicine. Food is medicine. It's everything.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, Organifi has ashwagandha, right? Organifi is like this greens juice brand that they're famous for this ashwagandha.
Is it a green logo? Is it circular
I think so.
green logo? Okay.
I think so, yeah.
They're known for ashwagandha?
Yeah, that's how I know ashwagandha.
I'm so bad with names. I need to visually see things. Yeah.
I mean, superfoods. What are some of the foods that are available for the people here, other than ashwagandha and other superfoods?
The thing is that things are much more available now over here, but they're just so bloody expensive. It's ridiculous because it's all imported, which I get, but invest in your health, because if you don't, you'll be investing in your illness at the hospital at the end of the day. So I think about it like that. It's a little bit more accessible now. A few years ago, quinoa was everywhere. I don't know if you remember that. There's like quinoa. There's like an explosion of carnival of quinoa.
So true.
But do you remember that?
I have a story about that. It's hilarious. I do remember quinoa explosion. I remember quinoa explosion. I remember kale explosion. Like, I was talking to a friend last week about the celery juicing every morning. So I've been doing it for the past month and a half, and I don't really like talking about anything's results unless I give it at least 3 months.
Okay.
So I've been doing the celery juicing every morning, and I told her that, and she was like, let me ask you a question, Nate. Why would nature put all the benefits in one plant? I was like, that's a very good point.
Who said this?
Maybe a friend of
mine.
Oh,
a friend of yours, okay.
I was like, why would nature put all the benefits in one plant? Oh, that's a very good point. You know, that really does make sense.
Well, not all the benefits are in it, but most of them are. I've been doing it for a year.
Really?
My mom and I, actually. And when I do stop it, I do feel the difference. I won't lie. Not because I'm conscious of the fact that I've stopped it, but because things just slow down.
Literally.
Everything just slows down.
We spoke about that in the show before. It's fine. We talk about everything.
You can focus on that, but yeah, things slow down. You know, you just need to know that one thing is whatever could be my food that just like illuminates me could be your poison, and vice versa. We're different human beings at the end of the day. We have different bodies. Our genes are completely different. So what works for you doesn't necessarily work for me. And I think people should be aware of that with everything. Just like how you have some allergies and I don't. So that's
a huge point too, because I never thought that I had allergies from grains, and I thought that allergies are instant reactions that your body has when you eat a food, like you get bloated or other things. But that wasn't the case with me. I mean, like, after doing this blood test, he told me that I was like, I couldn't eat egg whites, I couldn't eat grains, and a bunch of other vegetables. And I never used to get bloated. I actually felt amazing after eating rice or bread. I mean, rice.
Yeah.
Bread is a different situation. And dairy.
Which
is the most inflammatory foods, huh?
But remember that, you know, you hear people that are like, oh, I hate avocado. It's disgusting. And then, like, when they reach 20, they're like, actually, this is not so bad, because your taste buds are changing. Your entire system is changing. So maybe you were prone to one thing and you've had so much of it that it doesn't really serve you anymore. But with grains in particular, you got to make sure that you soak them and you wash them, because they're coated with a type of like
lectin
that doesn't literally people don't digest very well. So that's something to be aware of as well.
That's a good point. That soaking part is huge, huh?
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
And there's a doctor that's huge about this lectins thing now. Doctor, I forgot his name.
I don't know.
Plant-based, but that dude eliminates everything. And that's like, after hearing what he was saying, it's just pretty tricky.
Just do what works for you. Try it out yourself. See if it works for you. See how you feel. And then, you choose what you want to keep in your life or not. With everything, not just your food.
Yeah. I think that discipline, food is one of the hardest disciplines to have. Seriously. And people might say that I feel fine. And I'm eating all of this unhealthy food, but I feel fine. But again, that might go back to them just getting used to this feeling. It's like updating to a new phone. And then you're like, is this supposed to be this fast? Is it supposed to be this clear? Are things supposed to be these, So do you think how would people know the other side if they're so used to where they are now?
I think at one point it catches up and it comes out very differently, and it comes out in a form of disease. You might not necessarily have the symptoms that everybody has, like if people eat crappy food, and not that it has to do with weight, but that's how people see it. They eat crappy food, but they don't gain weight, and that means that that's the optimal way of living. But it comes out in disease. It grows, and I think that's the biggest wake-up call for people. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So it'll eventually show up.
It does. At one point, it does.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't show up with your generation, it shows up with your next. And people ask me, like, life's too short. Like, what are you doing? Just enjoy life. Like, eat all the crappy food you want. And I'm like, that's not the point. Okay, yeah, you can be lenient and stuff like that. And maybe I'm doing the best that I can for my own health, but I'm actually preparing my genes for the next generation to come, because they are in desperate need of help with everything that's happening. And there is a health movement, which is amazing. So that is my purpose. I'm preparing for the next generation to come. I'm redesigning my DNA for them.
Wow. I've never heard a perspective like that. That's so cool. Wow, that's so unselfish.
That's the purpose. That's my
purpose.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I absolutely love that, Saraha. I love that we're talking about health for the first half an hour.
I'm glad. I hope I'm not
so
boring
cool.
you, because a lot of people are like, oh my God, health.
I hope we're not boring you guys, but seriously, I'm obsessed about I'm so obsessed. And I heard a cool fact about broccoli last week. It was invented.
Dork alert.
It was invented.
So it was invented?
By an Italian family.
Genetically modified vegetables. Yeah, just like baby carrots, because they all come in the same size and they're exact same color. What?
Just like pugs.
Yeah, just like pugs.
Why would you do that to an animal?
I know, it's horrible. I know, I have a Frenchie. He was gifted to us. Normally we adopt our dogs. He can't breathe. It's horrible. He's the best thing in my life, but he's not able to breathe. It's terrible. It's like someone just took something and smashed it in their face.
They're like, here, live.
I know.
With joint problems.
It's
and you
horrible.
can't even have kids naturally.
We're laughing. I'm laughing because it's out of relief laughter, but it's so sad. Yeah.
They're adorable though.
They're amazing. Their bugle eyes. Literally, yeah.
So Tamara, you sing.
I do.
And you do circus?
I do some type of aerial, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So are you gonna sing for us today?
I'd love to.
Hell yeah.
All right. Are you looking to hear one of my songs, or you?
I would love to hear one of your original songs. So does Mufasa. Look, he came and he got comfortable.
Hi, Mufasa. We're gonna sing for you.
There you go.
All right. This one's called "Nothing to Me." Okay. See you watching from afar, your desert lashes closing off. Sailing out the desert dark, pave my way, I'm slipping off. And blood's boiling over, cold seeping closer. My skin's too dry and I'm peeling off. All this gold stealing money don't mean nothing to me. Now there's no need to worry, we're never in a hurry, are we? Yeah.
Wow, that was beautiful. You gave me goosebumps. That was beautiful.
Mufasa joined.
Mufasa loved
amazing.
it. He's like, what did you do? It's amazing.
Sing to you all the time.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
That was really nice. Did you record that song?
I did, yeah. So I released my EP almost a year ago right now.
EP?
Yeah, so an EP stands for extended player. So it's less than an album. So it's about 4 tracks. I wanted to do that because people don't really have the patience and time to sit down and listen to an album. You know, it's quite demanding. Even in conversation, people just daydream immediately. It's just us, right, as human beings. So I released 4 tracks, 1 in Arabic, 3 in English, and the EP is called Dust Bathing, and it's all about Kuwait.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so growing up, I think obviously all of us, we have a bit of an identity crisis. So my mom is half Lebanese, half Scottish, and my dad's Palestinian, but I grew up in Kuwait. And nature has been one of the most important things for me in my life, and I've never really fit into society over here. And for a very long time, I just was trying to understand why I didn't feel this towards Kuwait, whereas a lot of people from my family and friends, they love it here. And one day, Kuwait gave back to me. I realized that, you know, through my musical journey, you know, the desert gave back to me. My inspiration stemmed from a place where nothing grows a lot. And that was one of the most amazing things for me that came full circle in my life. There's so many juxtapositions that Kuwait has to offer. And that's mainly what the music is about. So it's about nature, it's about society, it's about my growth. So yeah.
Wow. Love how poetic you are.
Oh, thank you.
Really? Seriously, I never thought of Kuwait as a desert that doesn't grow in it. Like that image, how you put it, it's just beautiful. And when did this happen? When did that shift happen?
The shift happened about 2 years ago.
Recently?
Yeah. Like I was saying, I feel like you reach a peak in your 20s. I'm turning 28, but you reach a peak in your 20s where everything needs to be rewired. And there was almost this push that I didn't have in my control. I just knew that there was something that was changing in me, and I just had to let go and trust it. And I never really trusted the universe. I knew that, you know, you hear about these crazy stories that the universe puts these like signs in people's laps, and I believed it, and I completely understood that this can happen to people and people that are nearest to me, but I don't think I felt I was deserving for it to happen to me. And so that was one of the biggest eye-opening, life-changing scenes for me. And from there, the law of attraction and synchronicity, things kind of came together. So this dark cloud has slowly been washed off, and this sort of rebirth. When you think you're being buried, you're actually growing, you know?
That's very interesting.
So yeah.
So when you say that you didn't feel that you were worthy, you deserved, how was that, if you can put it in a sentence, what limiting belief was there? Because I feel like it's something that all of us struggle with.
Yeah.
Constantly. You know, like we're not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm too young, I'm too old, and searching for my identity, I think it was a huge struggle until maybe recently. Because you think you figured things out until life slaps you with another curveball, you know, and then you're like, here we go again. So is it a matter of eliminating or adapting?
Adapting and being present. We tend to be stuck in the past, or we're stuck in the future. We're constantly worrying about one or the other, but we never really focus on now and where we are now. And that is the optimal balance. There isn't ever going to be a time in your life where everything is going perfectly. That's impossible. So it's all about, you realize, oh, all right, the ship is tipping over on one end. You just got to, tip it back over, and you just go back and forth. And being in the now helps you kind of just take baby steps towards what you're aiming for. We are the most adaptable species in the world. We just have to learn how to do it, and it's all about you and getting to know you. I feel like with all the distractions around us in the world, no one really ever spends time with themselves anymore. And that's what it is. You need to sit with yourself, and that's very difficult for people to do. Yeah.
What does self-love mean to you?
It's about finding happiness in moments that are within my reach. That's self-love to me. People aim so far for something, and they're like, you know what, when I get there and when I do this, I'm gonna be over the moon about it. And they do, when they get there, it's not what they expect it to be, and it's so far. But when you look at the little things in your life, like waking up in the morning and the sun is hitting your eyes, and it almost hurts a little bit, but it feels good because there's the warmth of the sun on your skin, or like your pets, or lighting a candle in the morning, or making a warm cup of coffee, or making someone laugh. That is right within your reach. Nature is within your reach. I think it's really important for us to go back to our intuition with nature, and we've lost that. Gratitude, like hiking. I actually went to Everest Base Camp last year, and I'm going to Kilimanjaro in June. And the constant gratitude that I felt when I was in nature, this happiness that we've completely lost touch with, is something that I want to keep in my life. And so I think really nature is the answer. She is our mother. So
I like how you said nature is within your reach. Like, I really believe that. I truly believe that we are part of nature, so you really don't necessarily have to be in a certain place for you to be able to connect with nature.
No.
It's in these small... It's like, it's beautiful how you put it, because I really see happiness as gems that it's up to you to find. So imagine you coming to my house and I tell you, I have 5 gems somewhere in this house, and it's up to you to
find them.
Yeah.
Scavenger hunt.
Scavenger hunt. And you're going to go under the table, you're going to open the cabinets, you're going to see behind the TV, maybe check the cat's mouths, so you're going to find the gems.
Yeah.
So if you think of life like that, and every situation being a treasure hunt for those gems, for those moments, for those little things, because you're right, we tend to go unconscious fast, and we tend to think of the future, because I realize that my mind can mess things up fast. Like, my mind, if I entertain certain thoughts, it could really mess up things. Because it's not his job to make me happy. Its job is to keep me alive.
Yeah.
So Miskeen is just trying to tell me, hey, it's the small aid. Because one of my guests was like, I want to stay young, and I want to keep that old voice in my head. And I said it's the complete opposite. I think the voice in your head is that small you that's trying to protect you all the time from everything that you're going through. It's kind of tricky, because you don't know, you can't differentiate when you should and when you shouldn't listen to that voice. Because there's so many voices in your head. Do you think so?
There are, I think, many voices, but I think it's very important for you to know that you are not your thoughts as well. Does that make sense? Like, naturally we think of bad situations. Naturally, like I'm sure everyone's done it. We don't really talk about it, but like you kind of think about your own funeral. Like, haven't you done that? Well, we all do that. We're like, oh my God, who's going to be there? You know, we start thinking like those things, but, or, you know, you're not your thoughts. It's just your head running. And I think it's always just really important to go with intuition. Intuition is just as important as being logical about situations. So the voices in your head don't stem from within. Am I making sense?
Are they just like an
they're
autopilot?
They're like ghost voices. I think they're like ghost voices. You replay things that people say in your head sometimes, and you don't really know whether they're at one point whether they're your own thoughts or you heard them from somewhere. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. But that's why.
It's pretty tricky because I wanted to do this like episode every week. It's called In My Head, and it's just me walking around the house, and there's all of these voices in my head going on. Hey, let's go to the gym. Nah, let's chill. Hey, no, you can do this. And there's just different aids going on. You know, like the smart.
All
aids,
your alter egos.
Aids, all of them, and then we visualize them. You know, like there's this dude who just loves eating cookies, and he's like, because you can be lazy. The other one is like a gym freak. You know?
The thing is that, like, exactly, there's complete opposites that stem from one thing. I think dive into them, explore them.
I like that, right? Complete opposites stem from the same thing. Ooh.
Yeah, so they're like complete opposites, of situations, of juxtapositions that come down, that stem from one singular thing within you. It's like a root, and you have different branches. And so you could choose which fruit to pick off from which branch and try it out and see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I don't think people should be limited to one thing in their life. This is very important, that you don't need to do the same thing for the rest of your life. For some reason, we're kind of, wired to think that way. But, if you want to do something else and the voice in your head is telling you to, try this path, and it keeps coming up to your mind, then explore it. Try it. Why not? And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. Then abandon it.
Yeah. Do you think
adapt.
people are afraid to let things go like that? Especially, I think it's a fallacy that people, if you invest so much time and money and energy on something, you just feel obligated to stick to it, stay in that.
Letting go of things is an art that takes time. It's a withdrawal, right? So it really is an art. And like, I went through a period in my life where I wanted to, that healing period, like I was telling you about, where I wanted to cut off everything I felt like I was reliant on. I got attached to. So I stopped coffee, which was something that I love. And I reintroduced it back into my life because I'm like, you know what? I did it. I got it out of my system. I don't rely on it, but I love it. So I slowly reintroduced it. But I cut not all my hair, but like I had really long hair.
Really?
And yeah, I had really long hair. And at one point I'm like, I feel attached to this dead thing.
Wow.
And I just chopped it off. And that was an exercise for me to stop being attached to things that are not very important or not,
It's tricky, this detachment exercise.
Nature
It's tricky.
is the best exercise, because when you go hiking, you don't take anything with you. You just take your necessities, or you go trekking or camping. You take what you need, and that's it. We're constantly adding things and layering, and it's like we're putting like jackets on, like, as we go, and it's just about stripping those things down.
You can feel light and you can start dancing.
Yeah, you feel light. It's light. It's the weight. The weight would be lifted off, and movement. Movement is everything. Flow of energy. You feel congested. Make space within your physical body and move, and free yourself from that. So yeah.
I love that. Like, movement to me is everything. Even balance, just like Einstein, he's like, balance is movement. If you want to balance, you can't be in so many places at the same time. So if you want to spend time with family and do work and go to the gym and be alone, you're gonna have to keep moving.
Yeah.
That's the only way you'll balance those things.
It's true.
You can't be all. So that's a concept that really stuck in my head. And I shared that yesterday on social media because I woke up yesterday and I was doubting myself. And it's interesting how this Eid shows up every once in a while. I was like, Eid, what the hell are you doing? Like, Eid, where are you and what the hell are you doing? So I was in bed and I was like, I could easily, comfortably stay in bed right now and entertain this Eid. Or, you see, we always have an or in every given situation. I can eat this cheesecake. Or. So I really thought of that. I was in bed and I just got up and kept going, and within an hour I was back on track. So I think that us being able to hypnotize ourselves by getting to know ourselves and building a relationship with ourselves. And some of my friends, if they just dance, khalas, you see them. You get hypnotized by just watching them dance.
Yeah.
By looking at that flare in their eye, or what happens to them, or when somebody's singing a beautiful song and you see them just zone out, or playing an instrument. To me, those moments, like getting into that state of flow.
Yeah. It's hypnosis. It's complete hypnosis. I think everybody has that somewhere in them. It's just you need to find it and explore it and not be afraid to make mistakes, because they're your best friends. Mistakes are your best friends, and be okay with that and laugh it off. Don't take everything seriously. Laugh everything off. Laugh it off. Yeah.
Exactly. I like
that. Exhale.
Breathe, guys. You're watching. Breathe. Why are you holding your breath?
So yeah.
So tell us about OVO.
OVO.
Tell us the story. I want to hear the story.
Actually, so my managing partner, she's amazing. She came up with everything in that sense. Her name is Ahmed Shaheen, and my mom is also with me on that boat. So I was vegetarian by the age of 9, and growing up I also went through veganism for a little bit, and I was a pescatarian. And so Ahmed was like, what's veganism? And so I kind of, told her all about my diet, and I'd go over to her place and we started like just experimenting with some yummy like vegan banana bread. I just started like that, and she's always been incredible in the kitchen. She's like the Palestinian mama that just makes everything so divine and delicious, and a fusion of anything that you just you put 5 ingredients in front of her and she'll make something like incredible. Wow. And so it's always been her dream to open her own place, and so we all joined heads, and OVO gave birth, and it's 2 years old, and it's, knock on wood, it's doing really well. So the concept of OVO is that you go to a restaurant and they have a vegetarian or a vegan section. It's like this tiniest square in the world. So for us, it's the opposite. You have a meat section, but we also have one of the best burgers. But so the concept is vegan, vegetarian, flexitarian. So someone that is flexible to eating meat but leads a plant-based lifestyle. And it's like
I like that. Wait a second.
Flexitarian.
Wait a second. So someone who eats meat occasionally enjoys a plant-based lifestyle.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the fact that we like giving names to everything.
We're human beings. We just love
There's everything with a Tarian in the end.
Titles. We love to put we need to label everything as human beings, because we need to know that we belong.
Who is that person, and who does he or she belong to?
Yeah, we need to put them in a pool, because you're able to figure them out because they're a type, and that's you put them in a pack because we're animals, and that's the survival mode that we go into.
Animals.
Where we are at the end of the day.
Sounds way better with the microphone.
Actually, animals are better than us, to be honest with you. We're humans, but yeah.
I think they got way more peace of mind than we do, Salah. Let's talk about social media.
What about?
Why'd you go like this? What happened?
No.
Are you gonna flip over? That was a very fun episode. That's all, folks. Because I love talking about this topic. Honestly, it's because I think we're in a phase of humanity that's going to be remembered and mentioned throughout history. They're going to say the technology era. So we're in this phase right now that's happening. Like something amazing is happening right now in history, whether we know it or not. So are we actually taking advantage of this revolution that's happening, and what are the effects, in your opinion, on us and the future generation?
What are the effects on us of social media? Well, unfortunately, I think the purpose of social media was it was there to kind of inspire people, and it's done the opposite. It's gotten people to really compare themselves more than be inspired by others. News is traveling much faster to get a message across, which I think is amazing. But I believe that people are beginning to lose themselves a little bit in a virtual world. Like the virtual world has taken over reality. And I feel like we're losing sense of self because of that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People live on their phones. They have alter egos that come out because of their phones. It's a way to perceive yourself, the way you perceive yourself to an audience, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it needs to be a platform of inspiration and not comparison. And then that's my take on it. But at the same time, technology and social media has also saved so many people by getting messages across, by running campaigns, with news traveling faster, saving lives. So technology, I believe, should be in our lives when it's needed, not. Do you know what I mean?
Not as an escape, not as a way to escape from reality.
Yeah, but it's kind of taken over, right?
Yeah. I mean,
what is your take?
It's tricky then.
What is your take?
I think that it's just like a direction that we're going, and the fact that we're separating the virtual reality and actual reality, I think that they're actually colliding. So we won't have reality anymore. And I think social media gives us a chance to be able to create a new identity.
Yeah.
Be able to express ourselves however we want. Like so many people, strict families, especially in Saudi Arabia, don't allow their kids to express themselves in their own environment. So now, through social media, you're able to find people like you.
Your partners. A lot of people are meeting their partners through social media. Exactly, because do you remember like back in Kuwait, I don't know, like early 2000s when people were like Bluetooth, and you just sit in a cafe and you turn on your Bluetooth and people started chatting.
And they start flirting through Bluetooth.
And they start flirting, and because that's the only way they could have quote unquote normal conversation, which is sad. But now I feel like gyms have become, a platform for, men and women to interact on a normal base, which is fine because it's caused like this health revolution in the country, which is people go in for that purpose, but then they come out as athletes. So it was a very good thing, but there are pros to cons and everything at the end of the day. So
yeah, I agree. And what I realize is kids, when it comes to kids and technology, that's fascinating to me, honestly.
They have so much information. This generation has so much more information to absorb than we ever did, and at such a faster pace. It's gotten them so mature, and at the same time, not. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, it's tricky, because I really don't think that maturity is connected to information.
No.
So, and I think that like, I agree with you when it comes to being overwhelmed with all this information flooding. But I think that now, like maybe 1,000 years ago, we were challenged by nature through our environment for us to evolve. But now I think we're challenged by nature here, not through our environment, because we choose the environment we want to stay in.
Yeah.
If it's too hot, let's put the AC up.
Yeah.
If the water's too cold for a shower, let's warm it. Just so it can be exactly how we want it. So I think physically we're not as challenged as much as mentally. So when they say survivor of the fittest, it's the ones that don't get. This might seem a bit cold, but that's how I see it. That like when they say survivor of the fittest now, I think it's the people that aren't able to take the stress, the mental stress, the emotional stress, not necessarily the physical stress, because it's easier now to be comfortable physically than it is to be comfortable mentally.
Yeah.
Which was the opposite maybe 1,000 years ago when you were challenged by nature and the weather and not having the essentials. So now I think seriously, like people who aren't able to take the stress, those are the genes that are not going to make it. Those are the weak genes. And it's so dark when you say it like that, like when you see people that are sad or depressed or commit suicide, and you say that those are the genes that are not strong enough to make it in this era. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And social media hasn't helped. It just keeps people in their little bubble, in their circle, in their cave. You're absolutely right.
And even a teacher was telling me that kids are considered illiterate if they're not able to use an iPad.
Wow. Really?
Like it's not about not being able
Did they define what illiterate meant to them specifically?
You see, because I know they didn't, because I think that eventually we're gonna stop writing completely.
We're gonna start losing our finger muscles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our hands weren't made to write. So
well, the thing is that we're biologically evolving. If we're going back to health, for example, we are the generation that is immune to antibiotics, completely immune to antibiotics.
Wow.
So, and already I forgot what the actual terminology is, but like our expressions are completely changing. So they're saying that our eyes are actually coming closer to each other. So who knows? Maybe we'll become like a cyclops in like God knows how many years. God. Yeah. So like our entire.
I just imagined that. I was like, what the hell?
So our entire, like our species is changing. We're not really human beings anymore. I think we're evolving to something completely different.
It's robots.
And that. Actually, I feel like robots was like very 70s, I don't know why, but like
Terminator.
That's when all this, I think it's something completely.
It'll be way cooler.
Yeah, I hope it's cooler. I hope it's cool. I'm open to change, but like Black Mirror stuff. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
Do you think it's already happening?
Yeah, of course it is.
100%, huh?
Yeah, those ideas aren't very far. Very near, like the whole thing with the contact lens, or like the memory chips. That's there.
Following your kids.
That episode. Like restricting. Yeah, exactly. If you restrict your children from just experiencing normal life, there's an emotional intelligence that's just going to be completely evaporated and become almost disabled, right? So. Yeah. It's tough, man.
It is.
Stuff.
Like, I'm not a parent, but how would I know how to raise a kid for a world that I know what would be like?
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know.
Look,
tricky.
if I think about, personally, I want kids. I'd love to have children of my own. But when I think about, does it make sense to have children? Not exactly. With everything happening around the world? No, it doesn't.
It's tricky because I think, it's so stressful. Like, I have younger sisters, and I remember when I was a teenager, I wasn't as stressed as they were. Like, I think social media is making us compare ourselves and wanting things that we don't necessarily. I don't want to say need, but I mean, like, it's just a different generation. So it's tricky because I love kids. I'm obsessed. I love
me
kids.
too.
So what you just said kind of resonated with me when you said it. But at the same time, is that an agenda? How would such kids might come to this world and this world might be stressful, but is that having an agenda of them might be?
I don't know if you heard, but like female species, like there's a specific type of ant that are completely female that are able to have children. They don't need the male species anymore. Yeah. So. So.
Wait, how is that possible?
I know, exactly. How is it? The future is female.
Are they female?
Yeah. So of course you have female ants, right? Like the queen bee. It's the same concept, right? Yeah. So. Also, I've heard that a lot of women are finding it very hard to get pregnant as well, and it's just like this taboo subject that people don't talk about. It's becoming more and harder for females to get pregnant. So,
really,
biologically, we're really changing and we're completely evolving. So I'm not really sure in which direction we're going in.
Yeah. I think babies are popping left or right.
Yeah.
They are.
The
population is increasing.
Also, many completely struggle. So that's something that just people don't talk about. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah.
I love what you're doing, Tamara. Honestly, I think
Thanks,
that
man.
You're not just making people look better and live healthy. You're actually changing lives.
Thank you.
Honestly, like you being able to help them with, for example, what you just mentioned, people struggling with having babies.
Yeah.
Or people struggling with having peace of mind, or improving their relationship with themselves. Such a beautiful gift, even if it's, and I think that's art. Like we're all able to tap into something in this world, whether we like it or not. As simple as it be, and just making somebody listen to their own voice or their own mind for 2 or 3 minutes, that could be life changing for them.
It's true. You're right. Listen, you can't pour from an empty cup. So work on yourself, fuel yourself, and then help others, because I think our purpose on earth is community, and we're losing that to give back to each other. And that was the purpose of us being born here. It's to give back to each other, to give back to earth, however you do it. But don't pour from an empty cup.
And it feels good.
It feels great. It's the most rewarding feeling in the world.
Sorry.
And it has nothing to do with ego.
And it's free.
That's very, very important. What?
And it's free.
It's free.
Like seriously. Seriously, I think there's so many things you could do that are free. That could be giving back to the world, smiling, calling somebody, just telling me you love them. Like, we have the ability to do this and make somebody feel good.
I know.
Like, literally touching your phone. It'll make them feel good. But like, no, I'm not going to give them a like. Maybe next time. It's crazy how this alter ego goes inside of us. Like, what the hell is going on?
Ego. It's... Yeah.
Tell us more about the ego.
Me? God. There you go.
That was a wrap.
I think ego gets in the way of your goal and your purpose. In times where I've done a few successful things in my life, I've never really felt the successes because I was I had something else going on in my life and I had to focus on things, and those things that I had to prioritize. But I think I said I think so many times. Hold on, I'm gonna go again.
Are you gonna think?
I'm gonna think. Ego. So letting go of the self. It's important to not let that get in the way. I lost it. It's gone.
That's gone, guys.
It's gone.
I love it.
I can't talk about ego. That's just not for me. I'm not able to do it. which is good.
I know.
It's
Wallah,
so
you
good.
tried.
It's really good because
I love it.
it's not my main focus. It's not my main focus. It hasn't gotten in the way of my success. No, that's not making any sense. I'm just gonna stop. I'm not making any sense.
Do you know what? Do you know what I've been telling so many people lately, that I think that we get in the way of ourselves so much.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Like literally, you said it. Ego stops you from you achieving your goals and dreams, and I see it so much.
Yeah.
Like I tell people, listen, you don't need anything. You just need me to get you out of the way of yourself. Keep reminding you, hey man, stop telling yourself that. Who is talking right now? So when they're talking or just making excuses or just coming up with smart ways to stop them from doing something, it's literally them stopping them from their own potential. Yeah.
I'll give you a good example about ego where I see that it comes out is that people love bragging about work in progress or work that hasn't even given birth yet. And I think that's when ego comes out. For me personally, I don't like to talk about work that is in progress because it hasn't manifested yet. It isn't real yet. And I feel that if that steps in, it could completely distort the reason why you were starting whatever project you were doing in the first place. So I think that's where people should catch themselves.
That landed. Wow, I love that.
That makes sense.
That's dope. No, really, that really landed. That does make sense because you're right. I mean, I'm thinking while you were talking about certain projects that I'm doing while I'm doing them or before I do them. And now I'm asking myself, why was I mentioning them? You know?
The thing is that sometimes when you do project things that haven't begun yet, you're manifesting them and you're making them real and you're aiming towards them. So you're kind of conditioning to yourself saying, I am going to do this and I am going towards this. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It depends.
So it's like a paradox.
Yeah, it depends. You're manifesting something you want to be real. So it depends on the way you brag about it. Or the way you speak about it and your genuinity towards it. I don't think you can't fool anyone with that.
Yeah, and I don't like mysterious people. Wallah.
You don't like mysterious people? Why?
Like sometimes I'm sitting with a dude for the past 2 weeks watching him suffer. I'm like, I'm mysterious. I'm like, hey, man, come on, it's okay to tell me. Tell me certain things. Or there are certain things like, yeah, I mean, like sometimes there are certain things that, in my opinion, I think that it's okay to share with certain people, and some things it's okay to keep and make it your own. Tamara, it was an amazing episode.
It's been a pleasure.
Wallah,
thank you so much for your
Salah.
time, really.
It was like chilling with a guru, Salah. Oh my God, I feel like I'm floating right now. No, seriously, it was such a good episode.
The Himalayan lamp is doing quite a lot.
They're all over the place.
They're doing a lot. It's the ionic bonds. They're doing a lot of things.
No, seriously, Tamara, so it was a pleasure getting to know you.
Thank you for your time.
I love how authentic you are.
And how down to earth you are.
Yeah, and wallah, I love how you stop and then you're like, it's not for me. I don't know what I'm gonna say. It's done. Let's go. So I love talking to you. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for spending time. If you have a message you'd like to share with the world, this is your camera. Go for it.
Go deep. Do not go wide. I think that's the most important thing I've ever heard in my life. So yeah.
I like that. Are you gonna sing?
Before the world was like it is, I held a lover once, and I was his. And we walked along the river in the sun. But he's a lonely man, and this was done. And you are the wolf, and I am the moon. And in the endless sky, we are the one, we are alive. In my dreams, wolf and I.
Wow. That was beautiful, Tamara. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
Go
man.
deep, don't go wide. Woo! That was beautiful. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Take care, guys, and we will see you soon.
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good.
Watch out now,
Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would.
watch out now,
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good.
watch out now,
Everybody watch out. Watch out now. I'm ready for a good time and I came to groove. The whole band's here and we came to move. Got a fresh haircut and 2 new shoes. We're here all night like we got nothing to lose. I'm coming out the jacket cause we're turning up the heat. I wanna see you clapping when you get up out your seat. It's time to make it happen when we hit these streets. I'm coming in hot and I can't be beat. Watch out now. Baby, watch out now. Watch out. I'm on the move, I'm going up. I'm a man on a mission with no missions and I'm looking for love. Oh, I'm just looking for love. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good.
watch out now,
Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would.
watch out now,
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good, baby.
watch out now,
Everybody watch out. Last call for some alcohol. And don't forget to tip. The sun went down, but we still rolling. The band's still going, playing all the hits. I guess I'm now too legit to quit. I'm coming out the jacket cause we're turning up the heat. I wanna see you clapping when you get up out your seat. It's time to make it happen when we hit these streets. I'm coming in hot and I can't be beat. Watch out now. Everybody watch out. Watch out. Hey, baby. I'm on the move, I'm going up. I'm a man on a mission with no missions and I'm looking for love. Oh, I'm just looking for love. It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good.
watch out now,
Cause baby, I feel real good and I wish I would.
watch out now,
It's gotta be against the law to look this damn good, baby.
now,
Everybody watch out.
watch out now.